Hello, I'm Maggi-Boy 5626, 5626 Maggi-Boy 56 Maggi-Boy 5626. Yeah, I know I don't have any uh, good. I don't have any good replicas of to doing this video, but I gonna take it a try anyway because I wanted to because I have listened to all the Oasis albums, and I was so freaking fed up with all the uh, videos that are ranking the Oasis albums, that they are ranking almost this albums almost the exact same way as anyone else. I think it's that can't you think for yourself? Can't you make your own list? How do you have to copy everyone else? Are people so one-sided in what's the best and what's the worst Oasis albums? Come on, it's too fucking stupid, man. No, I'm a bit have a bit of sore throat kind of, because 2 days ago I was listening to the second last Oasis album, Hidden Chemistry, which is a very good album, and I album drived and sang from my top of my lungs, and I sang earlier before I got into the car. And I sang and I sang and I sang it so aggressively and so loud that I completely destroyed my voice. So I'm still recovering, kind of. Yeah, I wanted to ranking the Oasis top 7 albums, and I wanted to start with the worst. The worst is a very overrated, insanely boring album, which is Don't Believe the Truth by Oasis. Of course, this video is about the Oasis albums. That's literally the worst album by Oasis by a long shot. It's absolutely boring, insanely generic. It's not even a good album. The only good tracks on it is only 2 tracks. And only one of them are great, and the other is just good. The great one is the only great song on the album, and that is The Importance of Being Idle, which is an absolutely insanely good track. Is one of the greatest songs in the entire freaking world history. Amazing. And the other track, which is not bad, it's a good track. That's the last track. I don't remember the name of that. I think that's Noel Liam who are sharing vocals. If you look it up, you will find the last track on Don't Believe the Truth. And on the second last place, on the second worst album by Oasis, is Dig Out Your Soul. This is also an insanely overrated album. I can't believe that it gets so much hype that it is. The same with Don't Believe the Truth also. I don't see the hype around it. It's so goddamn overrated. Like almost as overrated as Don't Believe the Truth. And yeah. The only reason why I didn't take these 2 albums on the same place, because the only two reasons why I did make did take this album a bit point level higher than Don't Believe the Truth is just because I think the Shock of the Lightning is a great song, and Hammer Out of Time is a great song, and both are on Dig Out Your Soul. And that's the only great and good songs on the album, but both of them are great. But Don't Believe the Truth has one great song and one good song, but Dig Out Your Soul have two great songs, so therefore makes Dig Out Your Soul the edge. And the third worst album by Oasis is actually what I would call a good album by Oasis. It's Standing Off the Shoulder of Giants. It's a very good album, but it's so goddamn overhyped. It's so goddamn overhyped. You know, it's I can't even explain how much hype it is. If people say this is so underrated, I don't where people are rating this album under anywhere. I never seen a single person, never heard a single person that have rated this under its value. You know, everyone is praising this album for very little reason, really. It's so goddamn overrated, but it's still a good album. It's not that, but you know, people are talking that is if this is the greatest Oasis album, you know, and which it is absolutely not. And you know, and like Gas Panic, come on. And Gas Panic, it's a goddamn overrated, boring track. It's not a bad track by any means. It's a good song, but it's just goddamn boring, to say the least. Even though it's good, it's good and boring at the same time. It's very difficult to explain, you know. But you know, it's a good album. You know, the two great songs of Dig Out Your Soul was the only two great and good songs on there, which was The Shock of the Lightning and I'm Out of Time. But you know, Standing on the Shoulder of Giants has almost every track on this album is absolutely amazing. This is a call, Go Let It Out, it's amazing. Roll It Over. But the thing is, which annoys me insanely much, is that people are talking that this album is rated under its value. You know, it's not at all. People are praising this way too much, this album. It's so goddamn overrated. You know, and Who Feels Love is a great track. And Gas Panic is boring but good, as I said. Lil James is an absolutely astonishing, amazing song, masterpiece. Roll It Over, masterpiece. This I Can See a Liar, masterpiece. Yeah, it's a great album, but it's not as good as people want it to be. And what else? Yeah, and Who Feels Love is a great track. And what other songs are there on Standing Off Just Soldiers of Giants? You know, you have that. You know, Put Your Money Where Your Mouth is also a great track, I think. And yeah, it's a great album, but it's not as good as people want it to be. You know, almost every song on this album is great except Gas Panic, which is only good. And now we are going to the the last greatest, very, very greatest Oasis albums. And now we have Heathen Chemistry, which is an amazing album. Absolutely a masterpiece. And it's the most underrated Oasis album. Even more underrated than Be Now. It's so goddamn underrated. It's impossible to explain at all, because almost every single song on that album is a goddamn classic, absolutely masterpiece. Almost every single song on that album, absolutely astonishing, so goddamn chillingly great album. You have the Hindu Times, amazing. It's a banger. Hindu Times. You have bangers and classics like the Hindu Times. Quick Peep is a very catchy, very fun tune, which is no lyrics, but it's still a great tune. Stop Crying the Heart Out is one of at least top 3 or top 4. My top 3 or top 4 favorite Oasis songs ever. Songbird, what a freaking goddamn masterpiece. It's so goddamn great. I can't even believe that Liam Gallagher is that great of a songwriter. It's so goddamn good of a song. Songbird is... Oh, I can't even explain how much I love Songbird. I've played that song to 200 people on the last day of my school one time. Absolutely insanely great album. Absolutely goddamn masterpiece of a song. It's one. Songbird and Born on a Different Cloud, Stop Crying Heart Out, the Hindu Times is one of the absolute greatest songs that have ever been made in the entire freaking world history. Absolutely wonderful material. Absolutely, I can't even explain how much I love this album. Heathen Chemistry, absolutely elite. I absolutely love Heathen Chemistry, and it's so underrated. Like literally every YouTuber that is ranking Oasis album is taking this in the last place. Are they getting out of their minds or something? It's it's so insanely good, and so I think it's pure ignorance, and people have to be brain dead or something to say that this album is bad or saying that it's the worst Oasis album. It's one of the best. Heathen Chemistry is absolutely, it's almost every song on this album is a banger. Like every song is good on this album. Every song is a bang on this album. Absolutely amazing album. That like Heathen Chemistry, definitely the most underrated Oasis album ever, and one of the most underrated albums in the entire freaking world history. It's so underrated that even God can't explain it. And then we have the last 3. At third place, the third best Oasis album is definitely Maybe. It's one of the greatest album covers. That is probably the first album I want to buy by Oasis, even though it's not the very best. It's the third best, but it's not number 1. But it's because the album is looking so great, and it would fit so good in my record collection. And it's so many bangers on definitely Maybe. Heathen Chemistry is absolutely astonishingly amazing. Like every track And you know, I have to say before I talk more about definitely maybe Heathen Chemistry, like almost every song on that album is a banger or a classic or absolutely great, whatever you would call it. It's almost every track on there is absolutely amazing. And Born on a Different Cloud, I can't even. You know, it's so. It's not as good as Songbird, but it's, you know, I, I can't believe that Liam Gallagher is like, how the hell he got to be such a great songwriter to write Songbird and Born on a Different Cloud. Absolutely amazing songs. Yeah, it gives me chills. But definitely maybe further to that, you know, it's bangers on that, man. You know, Shaker Maker is not probably not. I know it does exist better. Western album. It's a great song, but it does exist better Oasis songs for sure. It's yeah. It's not my. I don't think it's one of my top tens. But you know, you have Rock and Roll Star, and you have and you have Dixie's Dinner, and you have Married with Children, which is an absolute masterpiece. And you have Bring It On Down, which I always love to hear all the time. That Bring It On Down is absolutely masterpiece, insanely good song, absolutely a masterpiece. And I always listen to Bring It On Down when I'm insanely angry and have a lot of frustration in my soul. Along with Jumping Jack Flash and other great like rock and roll songs, and Rock and Roll Star, of course. And you know, it's kind of weird for me to say that I like some albums more than Heathen Chemistry, when I kind of licked Heathen Chemistry up in the arse. But I have to say, you know, definitely maybe is timeless. You know, I'm not that sure if I can say that with that same level with Heathen Chemistry, even though I absolutely love even though I absolutely love Heathen Chemistry. But you know, definitely maybe, you know, Heathen Chemistry and Setting Over Shoal, Heathen Chemistry, definitely worth a listen to, but definitely maybe I would even recommend even more. And Sad Song, you know, even though I prefer when Liam sings it on live in a YouTube clip when Bonehead is with him, as when Liam is a solo artist. I think it was either in 2017 or 2019. That live version of Sad Song is absolutely chilling. Absolutely, it's so great. It's difficult to explain, and Sad Song is a masterpiece of a song, to say the least. Yeah, Sad Song is one of my great all-time favorites of Oasis. To talk about Heathen Chemistry, Songbird and Born on a Different Cloud is also one of my very favorite Oasis songs. But the same can also be said with Rock and Roll Star and Dixie's Dinner, Married with Children, and you have Sad Song, Bring It On Down. And you have it's many greats on Definitely Maybe, and you have number 2, which people would be a bit angry with me about. You know, I know people, like everyone is taking Definitely Maybe on number 1, which I don't, because like everyone does it. Why don't you like the two other albums I not even mentioned yet better. I don't understand it. But you know, definitely maybe great album. Yeah, and you Up in the Sky is also a banger, one of my favorite Oasis songs. And yeah, great songs. And but number 2, of course, What's the Story? Morning Glory. It's an amazing album with lots and lots of bangers and classics on it. And this is the perfect example that Noel Gallagher is one of the very greatest songwriters in the entire freaking world history, better than many, many, many other great songwriters in the entire freaking world history. You know, he is one of my very favorite songwriters in the entire freaking world history, and my best, and kind of when I try to convince people of Noel Gallagher's songwriting, it would be this album or the album I'm gonna say after this. But What's the Story? Morning Glory. It's the very, very, very insanely great album. Absolutely classic masterpiece. Blessing from God of an album. Don't Look Back in Anger. It's my number 1 favorite Oasis song in the entire freaking world, in the entire freaking Oasis catalog, and it's one of my favorite songs in the entire freaking world history that I ever that I've heard in my. It's you know, Don't Look Back in Anger is one of my favorite songs in the in that I ever heard in my entire life. And Don't Look Back in Anger is also the very greatest Oasis songs ever that they ever have made. And I don't care about how much people love and praise Champagne Supernova and all those. Don't Look Back in Anger is for me the number 1 greatest Oasis songs. For me, I don't care what people say about Champagne Supernova or whatever other people might think is the best Oasis song. Don't Look Back in Anger is the very best Oasis song in the entire discography, and the best song they ever have made. And you know, you have Champagne Supernova, and you know, it speaks for itself. What's the Story? Morning Glory. It's an amazing album. Morning Glory is absolute elite song. You know, it's so goddamn catchy. It's songwriting at its best, at its peak. It's a masterpiece, Morning Glory. And Champagne Supernova, also masterpiece. It's elite songwriting. It's a very, you know, very dynamical. The same with Morning Glory, very dynamical, and of course the Morning Glory and Champagne Supernova are absolutely very dynamical, very like ups and downs, and you feel the music. You know, that's just goes to show that Noel Gallagher is one of the greatest songwriters in the entire freaking world history, absolutely. And you know, how they make the songs like float and on this album, absolutely amazing album. And you also, what other great songs was it? You know, you have Roll With It is one of my favorite Oasis songs ever, and Champagne Supernova and Champagne Supernova, of course, and Don't Look Back in Anger, and Morning Glory is also one of my favorite Oasis songs ever. All of those songs is one of the greatest songs that have ever been made in entire football history. It's songs that have been directly sent from heaven, I'm pretty sure of. It's absolutely astonishingly great. And you know, it's although of those bangers that I just mentioned is songwriting at its best. It's no doubt about that. And yeah, and you have also what all the tracks that I absolutely love from What's the Story, Morning Glory. I absolutely do love. You know, Hey Now, Hello is also masterpieces. It's like every song on this album is a masterpiece except the Swamp songs, you know, which is kind of weird, you know. I don't understand what they did mean with that. And some might say masterpiece, one of my favorite Oasis songs ever, sent directly from God, just like the other bangers on this album, except those those Swamp songs that I just said. And I absolutely think that yeah, Swamp songs is absolutely yeah, but I really love yeah, it was Cast No Shadow is also great. I think it's on the Morning Glory album, or this on the later album I'm gonna say after this, which is in my opinion the greatest Oasis album, which is coming after this, when I finish talking about this. Yeah, it's a masterpiece, timeless. Yeah, those songs is gonna live forever. Yeah, and I absolutely love the song Live Forever. It's one of my favorite Oasis songs ever, which is on the Definitely Maybe album. Yeah, and yeah, absolutely yeah. And there we go to my favorite, in my opinion, the best and greatest Oasis album ever, which is, drumroll, Be Here Now. And I absolutely have no idea why this album gets so much hate as it gets. I can't understand it, because this album is you know, what people are criticizing this album for is the things that I absolutely love this album for. It's loud and, you know, and bloaty. That's exactly why I absolutely love this album. That's the reason why I absolutely love this album. That's the single reason. And before I talk, before I continue talking about BNR, I'm gonna say that I roll with it on What's the Story, Morning Glory is one of the very underrated, most underrated songs they ever have made. Just as that is said. But you know, Be Here Now is the peak of Oasis. It's not just sent by God. It's holy on so many levels. It's beyond great. It's one of Be Here Now. If What's the Story Morning Glory is here on musical and songwriting quality. Then Be Here Now is over this ceiling and over to nonillion light years up to over the sky into the wide space, like 9 light years away from the longest existing Kepler planet that have been discovered. So many light years are so many times better are BNR compared to What's the Story Morning Glory. You know, the songs, it doesn't exist a single song on BNR that isn't a gift sent from God. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist at any bad song on this album, nor does exist no, that it's not a banger and it's not sent directly from God. You know, the What's the Story Morning Glory has of course those two Swamp songs, you know, that's Bring It Down, and many, you know, the songwriting is so much better on BNL than any other Oasis album, even though like almost every Oasis album is great, but Be Here Now is beyond great. You know, you have fucking Don't Go Away. How do you even start? Don't Go Away, All Around the World, Hope I Think I Know, which is one of my very favorite Oasis tracks. That's, I think it's, you get more Oasis on Be Here Now than any other Oasis albums ever. You know, it's so, like, it goes to the core of Oasis. It's all the songs are sent from God. Absolutely most tastefully Oasis album ever. You have Hope I Think I Know, and you have Don't Go Away. Don't you know what I mean? I can't understand why people don't love that song more than they are. And the worst song on the album is also a gift sent from God for you, because it's beyond great, that song too, which is Magic Pie. And yeah, and you have My Big Mouth. No, the My Big Mouth is actually worse than Magic Pie, but even that track is sent by God and beyond great. Absolutely astonishing, brilliant, one of the very greatest albums that ever have been made in the entire freaking world history, with no doubt. And you have All Around the World is one of my favorite Oasis songs. And you know, this album is so goddamn epic. And what's the starter? And the title track, absolutely amazing. And yeah, but like, this album never gets old. It's always fresh and always lovable all the time. And Stand By Me, for not ignoring that, you know, Stand By Me is one of the greatest songs in the entire freaking history. Absolutely love that track. It's a gift sent from God, just like the other Oasis, just like the other Be Here Now tracks. Absolutely beyond great. And Stay Young, absolutely masterpiece, beyond great, one of the greatest songs in the entire freaking world history that ever have been made. Every song on this album is a banger. It's no filler at all on this album. It's only bangers all the time, and the wall of guitars and all that makes it just more fuller, more perfect, and more catchy. And this is the perfect album. It's one of the albums that exist in the world that is 100% perfect, and it's the perfect Oasis album. This is the album that I recommend the most for Oasis album, the greatest Oasis album. Yeah, I can't say nothing more, to be honest. Yeah, that was my top 7. That was my ranking of all the Oasis studio albums, all the 7 of them. Hope you love this video. See you on the next video. I have a lot of topics to take on. I think I'm gonna take the Rolling Stones, ranking those albums in the future. I don't think I have listened to every Rolling Stones album yet, but I've listened to almost every one of them. Yeah, that was it, you know. Yeah, goodbye and see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.